everybody. Welcome to Talking All Creatures Great and Small. And this is the show where we have recapped every single episode of our favorite show, All Creatures Great and Small. And that is premiering a season 6 on PBS Masterpiece. And it's so fun. I love this show. I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Michelle's here.
Hey everyone.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm excited to get back into All Creatures.
Isn't it like so comforting
Yeah,
to watch it?
yeah.
I've actually seen it twice now because I watched it actually 3 times. I watched it for the when it premiered in the UK because I couldn't
hmm
resist using the VPN. And then I watched it on the big screen. PBS Utah here had a
Nice.
premiere special event. The whole theater packed, every seat. I think I was the only person under 65, but it was still a full theater.
Yeah. It's like when you go see like the Downton Abbey movies.
Yeah. But I went to that, and that was really fun to see it with a crowd
hmm
and everybody
Yeah,
responding. And then I
yeah. I'm
watched it
jealous.
to premiere for this podcast. Yeah, there's a lot of All Creatures Great and Small fans in Utah.
I'm not surprised. Like it's such a such a comforting show and such a
Yeah.
I don't know if people would turn out for it here, which is weird, given that this is where it comes from, but
Hmm.
it just doesn't have that thing that Downton had. I don't know why, because in my opinion it's better.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
I don't think it has. I mean, it has a more successful love story in the way that it's written, but obviously, like the love story in Downton was very brutal and short-lived. But yeah, the only show that they've ever done anything like that here that I can really remember is Doctor Who. Like that's the only
Mm.
show that they would show an episode in the cinema.
Oh, yeah. They
Yeah,
do it quite frequently. They've done it with Doctor Who here, actually.
yeah,
They're doing it this weekend with Stranger Things.
hmm
They're
yeah.
doing
They're
it
doing it here
in
with Stranger Things, and yeah, that I don't want to have an emotional breakdown in the cinema, so I'm not going to do that. I was already sobbing over the for Christmas. So.
I mean, I'm not much of a TV person, so I can't think of one where I've been tempted to attend, but I feel like I
hmm
hear about,
Yeah,
these things
I've never
with
been one for like special events at cinemas. Like I think a lot of the only one that I do like doing is the live theatre. When they
mm,
do like ones from London and things like that, you're just never going to see on tour.
oh, I love doing
Like they
those.
did,
Yeah.
yeah, like the best one I saw was the Benedict Cumberbatch like Frankenstein one. That was really good.
Uh, I,
Um,
I saw the Hamlet that he did.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, my friend saw that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that they started doing. I remember they tried out doing sports and things like that.
Hmm.
And it was the worst cinema experience ever. It was the Wimbledon final. It was Roger Federer, Andy Murray. So obviously everybody was wanting Andy Murray to win. So we're in Scotland, but it was just, and it was the first. I think it was the first time I got to the final. It was his first Wimbledon final, and I lost. But you couldn't like have your phone. You couldn't like. It was such a weird like restrictive thing, and like tennis matches last hours, like hours and hours, and you couldn't like take your phone out and like look at your phone.
Yeah,
And
that's
I was like,
ridiculous.
this is just weird. And so yeah, any special events, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah. I went to the Taylor Swift Eras
Mm,
concert when that was broadcast. And
yeah,
I mean, I just went just because I cover, movies and things, but
mm,
because I'm not up on popular music, unless it's
yeah,
in a Broadway show or in a movie soundtrack, I probably don't
yeah.
know the song. And I think I knew 3 songs.
Mm. Oh well,
Taylor
no,
Swift. I'm
few more
like,
than me
oh,
probably.
oops.
I've
But
already established that you and I are Swifties.
yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, I have nothing against the woman. I just
No,
I
no, nothing.
yeah.
Just not for me.
It was really funny. So I was doing some searching, some Googling and stuff like that to find UK coverage of the show. And
Hmm.
I found this site called Real Mockery, that's REEL, that does like recaps and stuff like that. And it was really funny to me
Uh-huh.
because this guy, he's like obsessed with the fact that he wants more animals. Every single review for every episode, they don't have enough animals. They don't have enough animals. I'm like, I mean,
With an
it's
animal in an episode, I think we could, but
yeah,
that's more than
yeah,
enough.
that they're not talking enough about the animals, and I'm just like, it's about the humans. The
Yeah,
animals are
so
just the,
it's a drama, like.
which I just thought was so funny that like, man, this guy really wants it to be like Animal Planet.
Well, the thing is, they have. I don't know if it started before All Creatures or if it was like during it or just off the success of it. But they have a reality TV show called Yorkshire Vet,
Uh-huh.
and it
Oh, he
is.
probably loves that.
Yeah, probably that's
Probably his
his.
favorite
Like, why?
show.
Yeah, watch that. But yeah, they do a special episode every year, I think,
Yeah.
where they go behind the scenes. The Yorkshire Vet goes behind the scenes of All Creatures, when he goes to the set and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So like those shows mash up. So there's plenty of, yeah, I don't know what he's on
He
about.
says it's good
Watch
that
the
the
Yorkshire
war
Vet.
he says it's good that the war has ended because the show really needs to focus on the animals. Like, man.
What, pesky war getting in the way of the
Yeah,
animals?
that's the war getting in the way.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcasts, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
What's interesting about this season is they jumped ahead 4 years from
Hmm.
1941 to 1945. This is May 1945 for this premiere. How do you feel about that, doing a 4 year time jump?
I was concerned because time jumps are always a risky move. Um, I think the only time that I've seen it work was, what was that? Was it Dawson's Creek it done it? No, it was One Tree Hill. One Tree Hill done it to great success because then all of the characters matched to the ages that the actors were.
Mm-hmm.
So they were no longer like in their 20s playing teenagers. But a lot of times it just doesn't work. But I think in the world of this show, um, I think they had to. I think it was a necessity because even though it's sort of post-war, there's such a rebuilding to do post-war, and during and sort of and the sort of, not so much for them because they're in Yorkshire, they're a bit more shielded, but there's the whole rebuilding to do, um, towards the end of the war and the actual end of the war. So and that's been explored in other TV shows before. If you look at something like Call the Midwife, that starts kind of immediately after the First World War.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a really, really depressing first couple of seasons of that show because it doesn't shy away from um, the brutality and you know they're just walking, living their life and walking down the street and there's rubble everywhere. Um, so I think there's definitely a place for that, and I don't think this show is that. I don't think that's what this show is out to sort of um is out to sort of create because it's such a feel
Hmm.
good show, and I feel like we took it as far as we could last season with James, and I do think just in terms of the show, I think we needed sort of brighter days ahead. We needed,
Yeah, I think it makes sense because I think they
yeah,
had kind of told all the war stories that they had to
yeah,
tell. And so
yeah. I
that's why
don't
they
think they
had to
could
do
do it
that.
again. Yeah, yeah,
Mm. I think that, I mean, it makes me a little sad that we didn't get to see anything about Rosie's birth or
uh-huh.
them moving up into the house, out of Skeldale. That,
Hmm.
I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah.
But I think
It's
it
just such a
does.
fun like reset though. It just sort of resets everything
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
terms of like
So I
relationships.
it would be nice if maybe we got like a little flashback in some of
Yeah.
these episodes, maybe about
Hmm.
Rosie or, that kind of a thing. I think probably the character that it hurts the most is maybe Siegfried
Hmm.
because we don't really get to see kind of his growth as a character because especially like his relationship with Audrey was building, building, building. Now it's been
Yeah.
4 years. His relationship with Tristan, his relationship with James, all that stuff, and so you kind of have to believe that he's been sort of a almost like the Yorkshire Gigolo for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like
It's a permanent.
like
He's
what
a
is
roach.
happening? Where it seemed
Yeah.
like he was really sort of growing as a character a little bit more. So he's probably the one
Yeah.
that hurts the most doing the time jump.
He's like the town rake now or something.
Yeah, you're right. That's a better word. That's a more British
um,
word.
but yeah, it's. I think it's a bit brutal for the Siegfried and Audrey shippers because it's such a like
Hmm.
it's such a tough break for them. But um, I was a little bit. That's the sort of the thing when the episode started and I sort of saw where he was at. I was like, oh God, like I don't think I can handle Siegfried more curmudgeon,
Yeah.
angry. Like I feel like we've done it so much in the show. Um, some of it justified, some of it not, in my opinion. But yeah, it just feels like we've done it so much with that character. Um, and I'm
And
being
him
so
doing it for
like
4 years feels a
4 years feels
mm.
extreme. Yeah, yeah,
I do think that they really are pushing it as far as their audience with the whole Siegfried and Audrey thing.
they need
That
to do something.
they
Like
need
it's
either
I've
to
not
do
watched
something or not do something, like
or not
decisively one
yet.
way or another.
Yeah, hmm because the
Uh,
show is um successful. Like it's not like we said, it's not Downton Abbey successful, but
hmm.
people watch it. Um, I know that just the coverage that Channel 5 do, that we are excited about it. There's a lot of ads for it, like there was like a gajillion ads over the Christmas special. So there's definitely an audience there, and if they're going to keep getting multiple season renewals, they need to do something because it's just ridiculous at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does seem like it's a pretty big deal on Channel 5. Is that like the biggest show they
It's
have?
Yeah, it's one of the bigger shows. I think they did. Try to remember the name of the other one that they did. It's from one of the creators of All Creatures. Um, and it's like a poor family that get kind of crazy rich, and they take over like a manor. So sort of like
Oh.
a. So that was sort of interesting. It wasn't really for me, but that I don't think it took off as well as it did, and I think they're doing a version of the Forsyths just now as well, like a new version of that. I'm
Mm.
not sure if that's started yet, but I've seen a lot of ads for that. But I would say Downton Abbey is, in terms of dramas, probably their main drama.
Would you say that the networks there are still a pretty big deal compared to the streaming services?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
It seems like
I
it.
don't think I, I don't think as a big deal because There's not as many Christmas specials now. I mean, we didn't even
Oh.
have Doctor Who this year. Um, though there are certain things, The Voice,
Do you think that
that's
Doctor Who's
on.
gonna get officially canceled now that they got dropped by Disney?
I don't think it'll ever get cancelled. I do think it would benefit from doing what Star Wars is doing and taking a break.
Mm,
I think both of those franchises need to take a break. Um, I mean, I haven't been able to
interesting.
get through one. I think Andor is the only Star Wars thing that I've been able to get through. The rest have just been impossible for me.
Yeah, I haven't watched anything Star Wars since Mandalorian season 3, and that
Yeah.
was not good. So,
Hmm.
Hey, this is Jen Johans, host of the podcast Watch with Jen, which delivers a steady stream of great movie recommendations, thoughtful career deep dives, and first rate conversations with film critics, authors, actors, journalists, filmmakers, and more. You can find Watch with Jen wherever you get your podcasts or hear us first at our Patreon at patreon.com/filmintuition.
Yeah.
But All Creatures Great and Small, it's been renewed for season 7 and 8. So we got 2 more at
Yeah.
least.
Hmm.
So that's good.
Yeah. That's good that we would get that kind of multiple season thing as well.
Hmm. So this premiere, it's called Gathering the Flock, is the name of the episode. And it's after war, James deals with Siegfried's erratic behavior at Skeldale House. Tristan returns from war, alarmed by his brother's changes. They plan to help while positive developments await for everyone. So that's a pretty lukewarm summary. But we
Hmm.
also have the, what's his name? Archie. So we have
Hmm.
Archie and his dog that
Yeah.
that he loves. That's a hard worker dog
Hmm.
that Siegfried kind of encourages him or doesn't say, "Don't take him out, don't." And James is more forceful on that. So there's sort of a back
Hmm.
and forth, and the dog almost dies, like caring for
Yeah.
his sheep. And so
Hmm.
that's a plot. But then they also go and get Tristan and James go and get Audrey because they are like desperate.
Yeah, they're done. Yeah.
They need her back because it's
Yeah.
such a pigsty.
Hmm.
Literally, there's a horse in the front yard, in the front part of the house. Um, so overall, what do you think of the premiere? Do you think it was a good premiere?
I think it was a good premiere, and I think they did really, pardon me, they did really well with the time jump and
Mm-hmm.
re-establishing, and setting up all of the pieces of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I like where everybody is.
Yeah.
Maybe just not Siegfried's emotionally at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I like where everybody is. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of big fractures or there's any sort of things to be like overly concerned about. I think just
Yeah.
the Siegfried thing. And I think we kicked it off with a pretty good story as well.
Yeah, I think it was well structured because you've got sort
Hmm.
of the race to the train station, gotta
Yeah,
go get Audrey, and then everything with the VE Day and the
yeah,
celebration. That was very satisfying and very exciting.
yeah.
And so all of that kind of built the momentum quite well. So I think it was a good premiere. It was a good
Hmm.
start to the season. And we do have this 4-year time jump, as we said. And we have Helen and James have 2 kids, Jimmy and Rosie. And they
Hmm.
live at Helen's house. I forget the name of that house. But
Oh,
they live with her dad
yeah,
and Jenny.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Per James.
And he won't get a phone, which causes a lot of problems. The dad says that it's witchcraft. The phone is witchcraft.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that the other day that like there's so many things that happen on a daily basis and so we don't like really think about it, but it is kind of amazing. Like something like sending a fax is really kind of
Hmm.
amazing when you think about it, that like I've scanned this piece of paper. It's gone
Yeah.
through somehow through the phone and through the line, and then it pops
Yeah.
up and prints out in another place. That's kind of amazing when you think about it. Like, how does
Yeah.
that work?
It's so funny. I'm watching Law and Order SVU from the beginning for the first time. I've seen random episodes here and there, but I've never
Mhm.
watched whole seasons. And I'm still at the point where nobody has phones. It's all just landlines, and it's so nostalgic, and
Yeah.
it just shows you what's happened to storytelling now
Mhm.
that we're at this point where everything is picking up a tablet and like pressing a button, and you get this CGI thing of like this
Mhm.
is where the person is, or like this is going to solve the case, and
Yeah.
it's
I mean, it's
so
true.
fun how.
It's a good point because when you're writing a story, you have to
Mhm.
now always account for the fact that
Account for it. Yeah, yeah.
that everybody should be contactable at all times.
And everybody's got an encyclopedia on their phone, and everybody's got a
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So it's like, why wouldn't he know that? Why wouldn't they know all that about that person? There's
Yeah,
that it makes it hard. But so I understand Grandpa here with his witchcraft. Witchcraft phone. They find this dog in the wire.
yeah.
And so for Mr. There's not enough animals.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
multiple animals in this. They find the animals. And this animal is 12 years old. It's a working
Yeah,
dog. And so that, that was quite, I think, effective. A good story.
yeah. I had
Hmm.
I've got two dogs just now, but my dog previous to them was a border collie, the same type of dog. There's a lot of controversy on whether you should have a border collie as a pet, because
Hmm.
they are so they're bred to herd, they're bred to
Mm.
work, and so yeah, there's a lot of controversy on whether or not they're family animals, and I think it's like all animals. There's lazy versions of all of them.
Yeah.
And mine was sort of somewhere in the middle. But he was so funny. He would herd you in the garden. Like if there was multiple people, he would like instinctively herd.
Uh-huh.
Um, and he was also just very focused on the owner. Like he didn't care about any other dog. Like he was so focused on who he was with and me, and that was it. But it's actually one of the reasons that I ended up sort of making the decision to sadly put him to sleep, because he couldn't be with me all the time. Like his back legs had given out, and so
Mm.
he couldn't follow me everywhere, and that was causing him a lot of anxiety. Um, that's one of my dogs barking now. But yeah, it's they are like really interesting dogs. And I see a lot of them on like social media, and there's a lot of people that will say like what's going to happen to the dog when it stops working. The now thing, and it's in the next episode as well. We basically just become pets. You know, it's become pets now. You take them into your home.
Yeah, I really thought that was sweet. The way he's like, he can be by your side by the fires.
Yeah,
That was very
I'm pretty.
sweet.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Find that horse, the miniature horse in the house. That was very
Yeah,
funny. That was
very
good.
funny. And I really like the relationship between Siegfried and Jimmy. Like
Mm-hmm.
giving him the however much it was he gave him.
Yeah, and he tries to sneak Susan out of the window, and she's like, knock, knock, knock. That was funny. And basically, so Tristan says that Siegfried's reverting back to behavior he had when his wife died. It's basically mirroring that for Audrey leaving. And again, like, I don't know, I just feel like they've given us so little as far as any kind of real relationship, even a friendship. They really haven't given us much between Audrey and Siegfried. I wish they would give us more.
Yeah, I'm just I feel so bad because a lot of the shipping and the stuff that I do see, it is all Siegfried and Audrey. And it's just sad to see it sort of take a wee bit of a step back. And I agree, we need to do something,
Yeah,
or
they really
nothing.
do.
Like,
Just a little bit. We just need something. And they've given us so
yes,
little.
they're giving us so little, and what they have given us is like, oh, there's like jealousy there, but like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then we have James and Tristan going to try and find Audrey. Because
mhm,
they're like, there's rats everywhere. Like there's a horse in the main room. I mean, it's just bad
mhm,
situation.
yeah,
And her son Edward now has a daughter. He's now married,
yeah,
has a daughter. She's been helping Edward, but they
mhm,
ask her to come and help with Siegfried. Of course, they don't tell Siegfried this, and uh, it's nice to see that friendship between the three of them.
mhm,
You know, between Audrey,
yeah,
James, and Tristan is nice.
yeah. It's nice to see sort of Edward as well in the progress that he's made.
Hmm.
And that is the good thing about the time jump is it's very believable that relationship's been repaired now.
Yeah. So then we have James and Siegfried, their disagreements about this dog, the arthritis, should it keep working? Siegfried gives a painkillers and he keeps working. And then we have him getting lost at a certain point
Mhm.
with the sheep. And
Yeah,
we also find out that Tristan is captain.
yeah,
That he made, and that he's hiding that he has this medal
mhm,
that he, it's like a Purple Heart in the United States kind of medal.
yeah,
Um, so we also have some banter between Tristan and Maggie. So when Maggie is talking about Arthur, that's her husband, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if if they were actually
I don't.
married.
Yeah, I can't remember if they were actually married, but I think it is established now that they are.
Yeah. So I feel like there's something that they're brewing with between the two of them, between Tristan and Maggie, but I don't know if she's just gonna become like a matchmaker or if they're going to somehow have them end up together in some way.
Mhm,
Then he might be going to India. He's
mhm,
excited about that, nervous about it. He's putting up like a tough veneer, but tough. He's playing a tough guy kind of role here,
yeah,
Tristan,
mhm,
and not really talking about his problems. And
yeah,
we have Siegfried. He gets they're playing Scrabble, him and Audrey, and he says they tried to hire another housekeeper, but nothing worked out. And he says, "What am I, a problem to be solved?" maybe you are,
Maybe,
Siegfried.
yeah, kind of like a running theme, yeah.
hmm And that's when Tristan brings the dog. He finds the dog. He's up at the memorial, and he
Mm-hmm.
hears the dog. And he only took her up there because Siegfried said she was okay to work.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
and then so they go looking for that actually was like a different dog, and then they go looking for the dog with uh they're looking for Fly is his name. Fly is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Siegfried asked James if he told Audrey he was a problem. And he says that next time stab me in the front from now on.
Mm,
And then James says people will eventually go away if Siegfried keeps pushing them away.
yeah.
It's
And he's been
true.
doing it for a long time.
hmm That's
Yeah.
that's why the 4 years kind of hurts his character the most because like you've been doing this
Yeah.
for 4 years.
4 years, yeah. Yeah,
It's a
that
long
stretches
time.
believability, yeah, a little bit.
A long time. So they find Fly and the sheep, and then I like what a sad scene when Audrey tries to take her dog
Mm-hmm.
and he won't leave. He doesn't want to leave.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah, the dogs are like bonded, yeah.
yeah. And another one, Mr. Animal. Multiple
Yeah. But
animals.
yeah, it was like dog galore.
Yeah. And so Siegfried, he's trying to find Audrey. I drove her away. And then Tristan says, there's still time for the train. And I did think that this was a moment that they could have made like a bold move. Like can you
Mm-hmm.
imagine
Yeah.
if they had started out
Yeah.
this season with like either a long hug or I don't know, just something.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
Not,
like
not even
a
gonna
kind of,
kiss. They're not gonna do that, of course, but something.
yeah, like a confession, a little like mini
hmm
confession would have been
Him
not
going
too,
after her is about as close as we've gotten to anything.
yeah. Yeah. They can't
So
keep doing this to us.
yeah. So then we find out that it's VE Day, May 7th, 1945
Mm-hmm.
is VE Day. And everybody's cheering. Everybody's so happy, which was so nice to see. Everyone celebrating. And Siegfried arrives, but he's on the wrong side of the tracks. So he's looking over and he sees her over there. Like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
So then he goes down and he is crossing over. And no one could ever replace you because they're not you. And Siegfried says that I really like you to live your life with us. Then, so Helen tells James that he did all he could for the cause as any young man. You did as much as any other young man, which I thought was nice because it's true.
Yeah. True.
It's very true. And then Tristan and Siegfried toast with his whiskey. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then Tristan says, we made it through. I mean, Siegfried says we made it through, and Tristan says some of us did.
Yeah.
That was good moment. And Siegfried remembers Audrey telling him they should be grateful for what they have, and then Tristan says they have to fight for it too. And then you see Siegfried and Audrey walking together, and she says, "It's good to be back," which was very sweet. It was very nice.
Yeah.
So there we go. That is this episode. I think it was a pretty satisfying episode of the season of the premiere for the sixth season. Let us know what you think. Do you like this episode? Do you think it's a good premiere? Are you excited for it to be back? Let us know what you think in the comment section. We would love to hear your thoughts. And we have our playlist with all of our All Creatures Great and Small content, recaps, everything we'll have that in. So we have our playlist with all of our All Creatures Great and Small content in the description. You definitely want to take a look at that. And thanks so much, Michelle. Do you have any social media or anything like that you want to share?
Just Twitter, Michelle R. Benson.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes, and at KSL Movies Show. You should definitely check that out right now. And make sure you're following us at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That helps us so much. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that so much. We have our Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support everything that we're doing. And you get some pretty cool perks, and we would very much appreciate it. And we have our merch store where we have some All Creatures Great and Small themed merch. So check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.